Hi everyone, welcome back to the Navigant Credit Union Broadcast Center. I'm GoLocal News editor Kate Nagel. I'd like to welcome in my final guest today here in the News and Politics Show, Democratic gubernatorial candidate Matt Brown. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me, Kate.
I appreciate your taking the time because a lot has been going on, especially in the past week, talking about debates leading up into the Democratic primary. Governor Gina Raimondo is refusing to partake in debates. We caught up with her this morning, and she gave her rationale, saying that she's too busy out meeting with Rhode Islanders and doesn't feel the need to debate candidates before the primary. So let's talk a little bit. One of the things that, as you know, she has said, she's taken some barbs at the Brown campaign about what she says is the untruthfulness, not wanting to give your campaign a platform. What's your reply to that?
Well, I think it's a distraction from the real issue, and I think it's the typical negative politics that people are so tired of, and frankly turns people off from our system, and we need to be getting people involved in our system. The real issue here is that she's refusing to debate, and it's important because the voters deserve, regardless of whether or not Governor Raimondo thinks it's good for her, quote, strategy, voters deserve to hear from the candidates. They deserve to hear them put their ideas forward, put their platforms forward, their records forward. I think the reason that she's not agreeing to debate, that she's refusing to do this, is I think it's hard for her to defend her record, which has not been good for working people and working families across this state. It's hard for her to defend her ideas because they won't be good for people in this state. And so she's coming up with distractions to get away from the real issue, which is that she's refusing to debate. I really think she needs to do it. We need to have a debate. The voters deserve it.
So two of the things she told us on video today, Matt, about the campaign, she said Matt Brown volunteers were going door to door and saying that she was aligned with Trump. And that's kind of one of the first ones. Any truth to that?
Well, we have thousands of volunteers knocking on doors. I can tell you myself that President Trump proposed steep cuts to Medicaid. Governor Raimondo proposed and enacted steep cuts to Medicaid here, $125 million in cuts to Medicaid, and that hurt people. President Trump has pushed for more burning of fossil fuels. Governor Raimondo has pushed, as you know, to bring in a plant to burn fracked gas in Rhode Island, up in Burrillville. President Trump has given massive corporate tax breaks. Governor Raimondo's primary agenda for the last 4 years has been massive corporate tax breaks. I have a very different vision. My vision is to solve the problems that people in this state are facing, working people and working families, to lower the cost of health care so everyone can afford to go to the doctor without going broke, to invest in our schools so all of our kids get a good education, and to create an economy that works for the people, not for corporations and the wealthiest 1%. So we have very different visions. These would be the kinds of things that are important to talk about in a debate.
So when she says that, being told that volunteers are saying she's aligned with Trump, you're saying there's not any untruthfulness to that, and those are some of the reasons why.
Well, I'm talking about here the ideas that they have in common, which are cutting Medicaid, pushing for fossil fuels, corporate tax breaks. I don't think that's the agenda that most Rhode Islanders share, which is why Governor Raimondo, I think, doesn't do very well in the polls, and maybe why she's kind of trying to create distractions and getting into some negative political campaigning. This campaign is not about, in my view, this is not about Governor Raimondo, and it's not about me. It's about the people of the state, the challenges they're facing, and our different visions for how we go forward, and my ideas for how we solve the problems that people are facing.
Now, we talked a little bit about Medicaid. One of the other things she said, there were 2 points that she raised. She said that you're going in and telling seniors that she's taking away, that Raimondo is taking away their health care.
Well, the cuts that Governor Raimondo made to Medicaid, that $125 million in cuts, which is matched by federal funds. So in total, it's a $250 million in Medicaid cuts to this state. That did lead to people losing their health care. Nursing homes were closed because the reimbursements went down. Seniors were forced out of those homes. They lost their care. Care workers had to be let go because they couldn't be paid, and people lost their care. I've met them all across the state. And of course, the UHIP debacle that Governor Raimondo caused has led people, thousands of people, to lose their health care for long periods of time. I talked to a man the other day whose wife has cancer, who lost her health care for 12 months because of the UHIP disaster. So her agenda has led to people losing their health care in this state. And I want to restore the Medicare funds. I want to reform our health care system so we can lower the cost of health care and make sure everyone can get the care they need.
And so I feel like I've gone to one side and the other. That's what I'm doing, because in the absence of a debate, there's no other mechanism at this point. So she keeps repeating what she says she thinks are lies or untruths from your campaign. But that's the point of a debate, is having people in to come and have that face-to-face discussion and let Rhode Islanders and let viewers know exactly where you stand on each side. Now, in your opinion, has the governor, since being elected, had any truths or misrepresentations herself? One of the ones we asked about when she ran, she had promised to have an independent investigation into 38 studios. That did not happen. We saw what happened from the Attorney General, the outcome of that investigation. Are there any others that you would raise if you were in the debate?
Well, I don't know if I'd raise in the debate. In the debate, I'd like to focus on my ideas and what I'm hearing from people across the state, which is that the system isn't working for them, and we need to address that. We need to solve these problems. I mean, look, she promised that she would provide driver's licenses for all immigrants. She didn't do that. She said that UHIP would be fixed a long time ago, and it wasn't. And these are issues that really have hurt a lot of people in this state. We know the UHIP issue. We know about the licenses. But again, in my view, this campaign is not about Gina Raimondo. It is not about Matt Brown. It's about the people of this state, and that's what I want to have a debate about. But I would say if she has things she wants to discuss or disagree with me about or challenge me on, the debate is the format to do that. And I would be happy to answer any questions she has and to compare our visions and our records. My record is a lifetime of working to solve problems, to strengthen Rhode Island communities. I've been doing it for a long time, going back to starting City Year 25 years ago. I've been working in our communities here for a long time to help working families and working people. It's a very different background than she has, and that could also be part of the debate.
And so let's boil it down and talking about the debates. I mean, you're giving your viewpoint here, she's giving her viewpoint there. I mean, is this good for democracy?
No, it's not. It's bad for democracy. I think people, you're a journalist, and I know that journalists are looking into this, but from what I've heard, people are having a hard time remembering a campaign for governor. This is to lead the state. Not having a debate in a primary. It is, and again, Governor Raimondo said, well, I've got to see if it's good for my strategy. I think it's important for her to recognize that this is not about her strategy. This is not even about her, and like I said, it's not about me. It's about the voters, and voters deserve to see debates. It is a central part of our democracy for a reason, because there's nothing like the debate in giving the voters a sense to see the candidates side by side, compare their views, ask each other questions, say these things directly to each other, answer those questions, take questions from reporters, take questions from the audience. It's an essential part of democracy. And by the way, I think we'd have to question a person running to lead the state who believes, as apparently Governor Raimondo has indicated, that debating in front of the voters isn't a good strategy for them. You've got to wonder, why not? What is it that she doesn't want the voters to hear? What is it that she's uncomfortable talking about? I would suggest it's her record over the last 4 years, her record prior to that, and her ideas, which aren't working for people in this state. And I would like to get out there and talk about these ideas face to face, and I think the voters deserve to see it and hear it.
Well, wanted to have you in again today after we've talked with both candidates here, and we'll be talking with more candidates as well. Anything else, Matt, you'd like to share with viewers while we have you in the studio?
Well, just how great it is to be campaigning. I mean, one of the things I've always loved about it is you talk to everyone, and everyone talks to you when you're running for office. They want you to hear their views, and it's such a privilege and such a special experience that I've always loved about politics and being a candidate is you just meet everyone across the state, and it's an incredible, Rhode Islanders are incredible people, very diverse, very different viewpoints, but a very common message, I would say, that I've been hearing, and I think our volunteers have been hearing, which is that we've got a system here that is not working for people. Everything costs more than it used to. People don't make any more money than they used to. They can't afford their health care. The school buildings are falling down. It's not working. And they're really responding to the ideas that I had, which are new and bold and are dedicated to solving those problems for people.
Well, I appreciate your taking the time to come back in to talk about this here. I'm sure I'll be talking with you moving forward.
I look forward to it.
Matt Brown, thank you so much.
Okay.
Don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back here in the Navigant Credit Union Broadcast Center to wrap up. Welcome back to the Navigant Credit Union Broadcast Center. I'm GoLocal News editor Kate Nagel. Thanks for joining us this Wednesday afternoon. Started off at 3 o'clock with Laura Afonso talking food here in the state, and then 4 o'clock news and politics was packed. Started off with GOP gubernatorial candidate, U.S. Senate candidate Bob Flanders talking about why he's opposed to Senator Whitehouse's Medicare for All support, talking about how he would address the skyrocketing costs of health care in the country. Speaking of healthcare, had Ed Quinlan, the former president of the Hospital Association of Rhode Island, talking about the current landscape, potential for a Partners Care New England merger, what that might look like, and the landscape moving forward. Speaking of healthcare, Dr. Ernie Julian with the Rhode Island Department of Health. He is with the Beach Water Monitoring Program, came in to talk about some recent beach closures, including Bonnet Shores Beach Club and Third Beach, and what they've been seeing environmentally this beach season. With the 109 state beaches, said there are 9,000 approximately beach days here in the summer, and that so far 35 to 40 of them have been closed. So he said that's not too bad a number. And then finally want to thank Matt Brown, Democratic gubernatorial candidate, coming in after we caught up with Governor Gina Raimondo this morning again about her refusal to continue to have any sort of debate on the Democratic side prior to the primary. Her reasons why we heard from this morning, calling out Matt Brown for what she said were untruths in his campaign. Matt Brown responded, they're actually truths. So I appreciate everyone coming in here to the studio. Appreciate your watching. We appreciate your feedback. We look forward to seeing you back here tomorrow in the Navigant Credit Union Broadcast Center. I'm GoLocal News editor Kate Nagel.